KWT slaying.
Well, family, the wait is over. The moment has arrived where truth emerges triumphant from the shadows of history. Introducing the true Jerusalem, the lost kingdoms of the Israelites, the groundbreaking work by me, Jacoby Vale, a journey into the past that reshapes the future. I cut through centuries of misconceptions with piercing clarity. This book delivers a compelling case packed with evidence that commands attention and gonna get some respect. Come with me for a second, family, and discover how these thrilling civilizations flourished, protected by towering highlands and sustained by advanced engineering. Some have asked, where is Jerusalem? Is it the land in the Middle East? I say no. It is in the highlands of Ethiopia. With hours of groundbreaking research, this book brings in a new revelation, and it will transform your understanding of African history and its connections to the ancient world. It's going to remove from your mind the conditioning by the Romans of what has really happened to our past. Come with me, family, to the Ethiopian highlands and find out why this is our land. Why things have been hidden and obfuscated for centuries. We are royalty, children of the Most High. What kind of land do you expect us to have? Dried up dirt in the Middle East, or land flowing with rivers? A land full of beautiful animals flowing with milk and honey. Don't miss out on this monumental unveiling. Grab your copy today and stand on the side of truth. Visit Amazon.com or www.tailministries.com to purchase your book and join Jacoby Vale's teachings on Tail Ministries. Family, your journey to a hidden history has now begun. So family, get your copy of True Jerusalem, the Lost Kingdoms of the Israelites today. Journey to the heart of Africa, where history and legend converge to reveal the forgotten kingdoms of the Israelites and the true location of Jerusalem. Salama family, salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So before I get started, those of you who have not purchased my book or who haven't given me a review, please click on that link and go give me a review, because I got the urban apologist trying to take down my my ratings. So if y'all could help a brother out and not let the urban apologist win. Look like that. Anyway, just go to, I think that link is way too long for the chat because it spilled over, but just go to Amazon.com, search for Jacoby Vale or True Jerusalem, and give me a review. You know, here's the funny thing, you know, they're not even a verified purchaser, right? So, you know, they didn't read it. You could tell by the comments they didn't read it. And, you know, just a hater. So if y'all could go and help me with that, I'd appreciate it. Right. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to put this link out there, because we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to talk about some stuff. And I'm going to say this: if it's your first time coming on to the platform, you're going to need to show me your face for a second. And also, moderators, please be on the lookout. Because there's been trolls lately, which I'm not surprised of, right? So let's get started. At least it's Friday, right? All right. So let's start with this article. Well, before I do that, let's talk about something. So we know that a lot of things have been changing in the U.S. and I don't know what your viewpoint is on it, but at least from my viewpoint, it is not good. And a lot of what we see today is going to, it's not going to make sense unless you put all the pieces together, right? All right. Thank you, Pierre. I'll bring you on in a bit. So you can hide your face. I see your face. All right. So let me bring Pierre on before I get started. Yeah, let me do that. Brother Pierre, how's it going?
Going good, brother. Can you hear me?
I hear you sound good. So, Brother
Okay.
Pierre, have you noticed what's been happening in the U.S. and what does it portend to you? What do you think about everything that's happening? Because I have my own views, and I always get heat because I give my views. Right? What's your thoughts on this?
I actually I agree with you 100%, brother Yakoba. It's you know, you would have to be really oblivious to what's happening around you to not see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You'd have to be really oblivious. Um, it's all the writing's on the wall, brother. The writing is on the wall. Um, it scares me because I'm trying to get my family to see what I see, and it's hard to do that, brother Jacob. It's hard to do that. Um, Everybody wants to put their hope in the system, and the system notoriously doesn't never has never cared about us. So um, I'm like you. It also scares me because I'm praying that the Most High has gotten me and my and other family members, people that I love, and for the most part, everybody. But I do know that everybody's not gonna make it out. I'm praying that I'm one of those that can make it out, and we don't have much time. So um, yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I'm excited for the lesson today, man. I'm excited from what you have to say. I'm excited for all the input that everyone's going to that's going to have, and I'm just going to sit back and listen, man. And man, your podcast has been a lifesaver. I've altered my behavior, um, being a Black American living in this country. Um, my spiritual behavior, most importantly, and most of all, I'm trying to find a way out of here.
Yeah, me too. So I'm gonna share this article, then I'm gonna come back. We're gonna get comments from Brother Karras and Minister Rick. All right, so let's do this. Okay, African leaders to push for slavery reparation despite resistance. Okay, African Union leaders to hold talks on reparations at summit. So this is at the current summit that's happening in Ethiopia this week, right? Starting tomorrow, right? I think it's the 15th to the 16th or 19th, something like that. Leaders hope to. Hold on one sec. Let's see. Yeah. All right. African leaders meeting in Ethiopia this weekend are to launch a new push for slavery and colonial reparations, but can expect to be stonewalled by former colonial powers, most of which have ruled out making amends for historical wrongs. While the issue of reparations has gained momentum worldwide, so has the backlash. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he doesn't see it, reparations happening, and many Europe's leaders have opposed even talking about it. At the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, leaders plan to shape a unified vision of what reparations may look like, from financial compensation and formal acknowledgement of past wrongs to policy reforms. Reparations is the hot topic in Addis Ababa. The AU's Economic, Social, and Cultural Council wrote on X. From the 15th to the 19th century, at least 12.5 million Africans were kidnapped, forcibly transported by mostly European merchants, and sold into slavery. The debate on reparations needs to address the legacy of colonialism and slavery today, from racism to economic disparities between Africa and wealthy Western nations, said ECOSOCC. They need to shorten that, which has been advising member states on the issue. It is increasingly becoming impossible to not acknowledge the damage caused by slavery and colonialism, said Zimbabwean lawyer and reparations expert Alfred Mavedzing, I guess. Okay. The continent's debt crisis can be traced back to African nations. Okay. Right here. All right, where was I? The continent's debt crisis can be traced back to African nations being saddled with heavy debts upon independence. Climate change can also be linked to colonialism. Africa is responsible for just a fraction of carbon emissions, but its fragile ecosystem have borne the brunt of global warming. More than just compensation, much of the debate around reparations, particularly in the former colonial powers, such as Britain and Portugal, has focused on financial payments, but advocates say making amends for the past can take many forms. Reparations are more than just compensation. Brother Pierre, can you keep your mic muted until you have to talk? Thanks. Okay, the AU said in a statement that reparations for Africa could entail land restitution in countries where land was taken from indigenous populations to the return of cultural artifacts. It also highlighted the need for changes in policies that perpetuate inequalities and for international bodies such as the United Nations to hold former colonial powers to account. This might involve diplomatic pressure or legal actions at international courts, said the AU. In 2023, the AU joined forces with the Caribbean community CARICOM to demand reparations. CARICOM has its own reparations plan, which, among other demands, calls for technology transfers and investments to tackle health crisis and illiteracy. Right-wing backlash, but 30 years since the AU's forerunner, the Organization of African Unity, issued a declaration demanding reparations, there has been little progress. Jose Maria Neves, president of the African island nation of Cape Verde, has said right-wing populism and its impact on moderate politics has made it difficult to hold a serious debate over the issue. In Portugal, which enslaved more Africans, can we say Israelites, more Africans than any other nation, far-right party, Chega proposed, charging the president with treason for suggesting there might be a need for reparations. In Britain, right-wing populist Nigel Farage said Prime Minister Keir Starmer would be weak if he engaged in talks on the issue. In France, where the far right is on the rise, President Emmanuel Macron has ruled out reparations, calling for reconciliation instead. My greatest concern is that there will just be a conversation at the AU summit, but the resolutions will not be implemented. All right. So, Brother Karras, you back yet, Brother Karras?
Yeah, I'm here. Shalom, Brother Yakoba. I'm glad that you made it. I knew you're running late because sometimes when them naps be hitting, oh my goodness.
So, Brother Karras,
yes.
you remember all the hate I got about all this stuff, but it just seems like it keep coming back to us, going back to the continent, us getting reparations, which they say there isn't a second Exodus. I'm just saying.
So let me if you can scroll back up in the article, and I want to give you all kind of a little bit of a brief, just as I'm aware of it, and this is ECOSOC. So if you can scroll down, I think they'll show what ECOSOC means if they just don't, and they didn't. I hate when they just throw the thing in there
Here,
and they don't even give any.
Economic, Social, Cultural Council, right here.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that is ECOSOC. Um, and so understand. So there's a couple of key things that's happening right now, and let me kind of tell you about what has gone on over the last, I think, about maybe 6-7 weeks. So, a gentleman named Sifaway Balaka, he has been heading up the um, inclusion of the sixth region of the African Union. And so, what does that mean? That means that it was really, if, and I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing these dates correctly, because this did come from Sifue himself, and I did say that I was going to support the effort under the. Let me make sure I have it right here. The African Diaspora Assembly. They held some elections to be able to formally be included in these talks in terms of us being a diaspora representative of the sixth region. So basically, they acknowledge that there's a sixth region, but there hasn't been any type of governance or formalized governance to that sixth region. And the reason that this was important, and I know folks will have different theological debates and things of that nature, and that's okay. But from this perspective, it was this: who better to tell the story of the need for reparations than the folks that were taken by force due to a war caused by Vatican, Rome, through literally not just papal states, but papal representative states that still succeed power to Rome, i.e., money and things of that nature that have been recalled, last September timeframe. And now we have here that's happening. The foreground of the African Union that is going on has been the debate regarding reparations. Don't let anybody fool you or tell you that. Don't get that fooled. And this is the backdrop to where I'm going to say probably more than likely after the African Union convenes, I'm going to say probably in about 2 or 3 weeks. You got to let bureaucracy run its course. Probably around 2 or 3 weeks. So probably the 1st of March, 1st or 2nd week in March, you're going to have a bigger push in terms of the repatriation of diasporans from or throughout the world. Now, I don't know all the details and things of that nature, but I know that those were the conversations that they wanted to have. And on top of that, there's another summit or forum that's being held in May. So this is really the year that a lot of things are happening. This is kind of the initial, conceptual framework. Then May, you're going to actually have, I think, a lot more in terms of the building, the bones and things of that nature of how it comes together. But then, all throughout this next upcoming year, at every single, I'm going to say, either gate or benchmark or milestone, there's going to be a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. So that's kind of this life cycle of sorts in terms of the repatriation life cycle of the African diaspora. And now, don't get it twisted. There is still a lot of internal infightings to this. This is what's going on. So I like to be fair. Whenever I do research, I like to be fair. So you see the one side, okay? We all get excited about one side, but there's a reality to the other side. And the reality to the other side is that a lot of these countries, they're still on the fence, because understand, the proponent of how they are able to, box us in per se has been under, let's just face it, economic payments by Western nations to ensure that we are not, or that our status is held in limbo. So going back to the recognition of the Sixth Union, that was done back in 2004. But it took us literally up until this time, almost 20 years, over 21 years, to be at this point in time. And even as elections were being called, different things were happening in the political environment, to me, politics, it doesn't work. And this was never intended to be a political move. It was intended to highlight, what it is that the Most High is doing, because no matter if we had a political move or not, you were always going to have agency even at these higher levels of government, because that's how our captivity functioned. So if you didn't understand how our captivity worked, right? Yes, it is the Gentile powers, but it's also the Gentile powers that have been basically paying the boycott, paying the blackmail, right? Paying for silence. And now the mechanisms of paying for that and how they move money and funnel money and get all these the funds everywhere. Guess what? The main treasury got shut off last week with USAID. So now you're going to start to see when these folks are going to start letting cats out the bag, it's going to have Europe in shambles. And then Europe is going to start pointing the blame at folks.
And also realize that, like with what's happening with South Africa, how we see Trump putting sanctions on them. And Brother Pierre, please keep your mic muted until it's time to talk.
Okay.
So we have Trump putting sanctions on South Africa. And so then he invited a whole bunch of Afrikaners to come and be immigrants, right? Basically, in the U.S. Now, let's look at this right quick, because I think all of this is tied to prophecy. And then I'm going to come to you, Minister Rick.
It's for entertainment purposes only, family. Have you been following what's going on in South Africa? Where after Trump gave Mzungu South Africans special resettlement status and priority in resettling in America and stuff like that, over 20,000 Afrikaners actually went looking for how to go about it on the South African Chamber of Commerce. Paka, they crashed the system. And apparently there's been a huge interest, and we might actually see like an exodus of the Afrikaners from South Africa. Now, I've been talking about on my YouTube channel how there's going to be an exodus ahead, because we are in the end of this world. We are in the end of this time, and a new.
So we all know that Trump was putting tariffs and sanctions on South Africa, but he's also putting tariffs on all of the BRICS nations, which includes South Africa, which is going to make it hard for everybody there, just as it is here. But now Trump has invited the Afrikaners here. And in my opinion, I think it's spiritual, right? 20,000 Mzungus, want to come here to the States. You know why? Because we're going to be going back to the continent, right? That's just my opinion. And all of this makes sense when you look at how Ramaphosa has confronted Trump and said, look, okay, you're going to sanction us. We're going to sanction you. We're not going to send you our resources. We're not going to send you our earth, what they call it, the earth metals or the earth, whatever they call them things. So now we have this contention happening between Africa and the West. So as Brother Karras was saying, the West would always cut them checks, right? Now U.S. aid is shut down. They're not getting any money from that. Now we have this whole thing of, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back, right? You sanction me, I'm gonna sanction you back. You need, earth minerals. You need my minerals. I don't need your cash, right? They need our rare earth minerals. Thank you, T'Challa. Rare earth minerals. You need our minerals, but we don't really need your cash. You know why? Because we're going into a new system. I'm like, I think everything's happening perfectly. Minister Rick, what's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts on this are a lot on the things. I'll try and be very brief. What we're seeing is the Psalm 83 deception unraveling. It's becoming general knowledge. The deception is just the eyebrows, the blindfolds off everybody. Our people really understanding. I enjoy listening to Karis in the show in the morning, how he's talking about how he's engaging with these young people. And he made one statement. He said that they had some knowledge of it, that some person, some uncle or somebody in the family had been talking about this and it's on their minds. I think we need to spend this time engaging our people. I would never bother you about talking about these things. People say, fear. No. You said you're a watchman. You don't get on a watchman for sounding an alarm. That's his job.
Thank
You're
you.
right to do that. But we got to be careful that we don't ascribe omnipotence to Esau at this time, because our Elohim is the only limitation was on him to opt in our behalf was the 400 years. Now there are any number of things. So anything that Esau is allowed to do, it's only to our benefit. It's going to cause us to do that. So circumstances will dictate the Exodus. Stop the debate. Circumstances dictated our coming here. Circumstances are going to dictate our leaving. And I have one more point, and I'll be very brief with it. We got to be careful. You don't get in a content creator fishbowl, because you got the urban apologists and people. The street don't feel that way. That's a lot of these nutcases. They feel that way. So I want to paraphrase President Kennedy, in terms of returning to Africa, returning to the continent. Ask not what the continent can do for you, but what you can do for the continent. And one more scripture, with all these things we're seeing, redeem the time, because the days are evil. Seek the Most High. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Because first of all, you have to be in covenant relation with Christ. If you're in covenant relation with Yeshua, death is not your problem. Getting the job done for our Father is your problem. Because quiet as it's kept, He loves us, but He's not coming back for us. He's coming back to redeem His name, which we have profaned among the heathen. So both you guys are doing great work. I just want to add a little perspective.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Minister Rick. Fort Living Room.
Shalom, family.
Shalom. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I just wanted to say, things are getting out of control here in the U.S. And if people can't see what's actually happening right now, it is something wrong. Like, we just went through all the Super Bowl. We went through all these things, and people still going along with this system, partaking in these rituals, doing all these things. And I feel like people just are not paying attention. It really just got so bad. We ended up like pulling the trigger ahead of time and just ended up leaving. Like, we have a home, a farm, and everything's still on the market. We just left, because even in our community, you could see where things were just getting volatile. That, like, you just go out in public and you can just feel the tension in the air, you know? And so, yeah, we ended up just having to pull the trigger. We got our house on the market, packed up the kids and the dogs. And we didn't even bring all our stuff. We just left. And
so what did y'all go?
We're in Rwanda right now. We came over here. I came here last year and set some foundations and did some research and this and that. I had family here at that time last year. It turns out that, no, I'm not gonna put my mouth on family, but things happened and they decided they decided that we Native Americans and we need to go back and we need to do this and we need to do that. And I said, okay, good, more power to you. I'm gonna let you be Native American and I'm gonna let you go ahead and die with your boots on. So yeah, we ended up leaving, and we've been here for almost a week now. for about a week now. Yeah, we got here last Sunday, and just the peace and just the atmosphere here is 100% different. I ended up meeting with some other expats here, just literally just today. Had a meeting with some other expats. People are doing things here. Not only are people doing things here, people want us here. People need us here. Just the skill trades, the knowledge, the understanding of how Babylon operates, that level of understanding is very, very much needed here. Very much needed here. I don't want to take up no more time, just going on and on, but I'll say if you haven't thought about leaving, um, I think, yeah, the time is here. I'll land, like as you say, brother Jacob, I'll land my plane there.
All right, thanks a lot, Sister Chantel. Welcome. I don't remember the last time you've been on here.
Shalom to you. Shalom to everyone on the panel and to the whole house of Yasharal. Shalom and Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Oh, goodness gracious. So I have to take my other headphone out because it was a bit weird. I don't even know where to begin. It's funny because everywhere I look, I'm seeing a lot of these nations are starting to it's like they're starting to disperse. They're kind of moving away from America, but also it's kind of like, think of it as like an onion, and you've got like at the core you've got like the the Americans, and then outwards you've got the Western nations, Europe, and then the other ones like like Australia and all the other. And then you have what we call the BRICS and everything. And it's like the BRICS are falling away. All these other nations, the global south, are falling away. And then you've got like the Western nations who are like, they're seeing how the other nations where they know they need their resources are moving away, and they're freaking out. They are freaking out. I've been saying for ages, just wait until I knew it was coming. I've been saying that Japan is going to drop America like a bag of rocks. And when they do, and South Korea does, it's over for America in that region. And then you've got, obviously, they've got the issues with the chips, and then obviously AI. They're freaking out about that. Everything is going haywire for the West, and I can't understand how people still don't get that this is the end of them. This is the end of their world, their supremacy. And I'm so pleased. I think me and you, Jacobo, remember we said, look, they're doing their job. Trump's doing the job for us. We don't need to go in there and start kicking people out. We don't need to do that. They're leaving. If they're leaving South Africa, then I'm happy. Leave.
Me too.
Go to America. Go to England. Come to this place. Go back to where you belong. In fact, I beg or not, go to America, because we know exactly what's going to happen there. And for all those other people who want to call themselves Native Americans, who they said just die with your boots on? It's like, yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's even more crazy when you hear Israelites say that, because I'm like, okay, can you explain Deuteronomy 28? Can you explain how it says we would be scattered to the four corners of the earth if we're in and we're in the... How does that make sense? We're in the nation of our oppression. How did we get there? Why are we still in the same place? People vex me.
The whole issue, in my opinion, is that a lot of this Native American thing, if you notice on social media, has gained traction. And I think a lot of them are financed by the government, right? Because they don't want us going back. They don't want us leaving, you know?
Exactly. They don't want that because, and that's another thing. Everything has been set up to keep us out. Everything has been set up to keep us out. They don't want us going back because they know Judah can't come back. The lion can't come back. Look, here's the thing. I love our brothers and sisters on the continent. I love them so much, but they don't know the oppressor like we know the oppressor. We know and understand how these people think even more than they understand how they think. If you can't, if people can't understand that we know them better, all you have to do is go on social media and see how these white women are going, oh my gosh, we're losing our rights. And all these other people talking about black people, come and save me. Ah, where is us? I'm like, was you not told? Did you, like, we don't care because we don't get nothing. But when black people said, look, just vote for this woman and we'll deal with her later. And none of you even listened. And it just, you vote. What really confuses me is the Hispanics talking about it's like they voted for this man and now they are freaking out. I don't get, they really aren't together. We've been fooled into believing all these people are together and there's a unity. They never had unity. They only had unity against us, because if they had unity, I saw one old woman being interviewed by some geezer, yeah, and he turned around and said to her, oh, so what about your have you got immigrants in your family? And she said, yeah, I've got immigrants in my family, and they can get sent back and then come back and do what's right, do it right. I'm like, even the white man was shocked, like, huh? I'm like, you people, everything that I see happening to them, I'm just like, okay, good, because you did this to us. When you see them talking about they're coming in the schools and they're taking our children, I'm like, hello, ain't that what happened to us? We were still going through that. They were still taking our children, right? And then I think I left a message talking about how some Hispanic chick turned and said about, these black teachers, black women teachers they said they're going to sacrifice themselves for our children. And I was mad. I was so mad when I heard her say that. I cried out. I said, don't put that evil on my people, because I know for a fact not one sister turned around and said, not one teacher turned around and said, black teacher, Israelite teacher turned around and said, oh, we will sacrifice ourselves for your children. That's a load of BS. I can guarantee that, because what they probably said is, we'll make sure they don't come in here, or something to that extent. But to turn around, we ain't going to be saying things like that. We've already done that kind of stuff. That's what they want. They want us as their human shields, and it's not happening anymore. The same way it ain't happening over here. We're done over here. We are done.
Let me ask you this, Sister Chantel. What is it like in the UK? Because you see how it is over here. Everybody's losing their mind, right? Is the UK as bad as it is here?
It depends on the regions. The further in you go into London, in central London, you'll have people come down from certain parts of the country to protest and so on and so forth. But people generally over here, it's like, there's a certain disconnect with the world. Like, yeah, that's not going to happen to us, because we don't get things happening in this country like that. You know, we don't suffer from extreme weather, disasters and all of that. So there's a certain sense of apathy to the British, like, oh yeah, whatever. You know, a lot of people do not, well, you saw the videos, I think Harris had them on his channel, was it last year, where British people was black, white, Indian was saying, I ain't going to fight in no war. I'm not fighting this war. You know, so it's like, they don't really care. They don't care. As for our people, a lot of our people are like, they're waking up. Some of them are actually saying, you know, I kind of feel like these people are going for a judgment. They can see it. The ones who are out in the streets, the ones in the church, especially SDAs, oh, hell no, they can't see nothing. They're blind as anything. They're blind. People in the church, but that's what the church was there for. That's exactly what it was there for, to keep the Most High's people in a sense of, in a stupor. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show this video and I'm going to come back to you, Brother Sean, afterwards. And if you want to say something after Brother Sean Pierre, you can when we come back.
One of the doors of no return. I must return. We all must return. They thought that we would never come back, but we've been coming back, and more of us will come back. I shall journey back in. I'm one of the ones who made it back. It's giving me chill bumps. It's giving me chill bumps. I'm returning. Come back to Ghana and return back to the motherland. This is Africa.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to return to the land of your ancestors? Well, in 2019, thousands of black people from the US, the Caribbean and beyond made that dream a reality. Welcome to today's video, where we talk about the return of black people in the diaspora to Africa, with a special focus on Ghana's year of return. In this video, I'm going to tell you why you should come back home and how you can do it. Let me give you a brief background of the African history. Many people were forced out of Africa to leave their homeland due to the transatlantic slave trade, and many of them ended up in America, in the Caribbean and Europe, where they built new lives but often faced racism, discrimination, and a longing for home. Over the years, black people in the diaspora started reconnecting with Africa through culture, music, and travel. And I remember leaders like Marcus Garvey of Jamaica and Kwame Nkrumah, the Ghana's first president, encouraged black people to return to Africa and rebuild it. But unfortunately, a few people responded to the call. So, in 2019, Ghana launched the Year of Return, marking 400 years since the first enslaved Africans arrived in Virginia, USA. That was in 1619. The goal was to invite black people back home to reconnect, invest, and even become citizens, something which is ongoing. So, brothers and sisters of the diaspora, I am talking to the people far in the Caribbean, North America, South America, India, and wherever in the world that the black man's DNA lives. The land of your ancestors is calling you home. And I mean Africa, the cradle of civilization. It is more than just a continent. It is your heritage, your future, and your ancestral home. Oh, Mama Africa. Well, Africa may not be where you're born, I understand, but it's where your people live. I know you have been raised to think Africa is a dead end with so many diseases, poverty, and no civilization. Well, that was before. The hunter has always told his version of the story, and now it's the time for the lion to speak. I want to remind you that your ancestors dreamt of this moment. You are their wildest dream come true. So please, answer the call. Africa is waiting for your triumphant return. We can't wait to sit down with you under a mango tree and narrate to you whatever you have missed. We can't wait to clear the land. We can't wait to give you hugs. We can't wait to show you around. Africa is a land of unmatched cultural richness, where history breathes through every drumbeat and every piece of fabric woven. Your roots trace back to great kingdoms, Mali, Ghana, Kush, Songhai, and Ethiopia, where excellence, wisdom, and power once thrived. This is your inheritance. The truth is, Africa is rising with booming economies, abundant natural resources, and a youthful, innovative population. There has never been a better time to return. Opportunities in technology, agriculture, real estate, and trade awaits those who dare to build and reclaim their place in history. Whether you long for the peaceful countryside, the warmth of coastal shores, or the vibrance of cosmopolitan cities, Africa offers a home that suits every soul. Here the sun shines brighter, the air feels freer, and a sense of belonging is unshakable. You are no longer a foreigner, my brother, my sister. You are no longer a stranger when you come here. You are a family. Enough of the worries about your skin color. Enough of the Black Lives Matter. Here you are alive just like everybody else. Africa welcomes you with open arms, where neighbors become brothers and sisters who even uplift one another. The spirit of Ubuntu, I am because we are, lives in every community. The time is now. The motherland is calling. Come home, invest in your future, and reclaim your heritage. The doors of Africa are open, and your journey begins today.
Jacob, if you're saying something, you're on mute.
Thank you, Karis. I'm talking.
I know you have been going on for like for like 3-4 sentences. So
Thank you, Brother Karis. So I was asking Brother Sean, what do you think about this? Because a lot of people gave this ministry a lot of headache and lies and talking about Yacoba predicted this, he prophesied that, but we still here and all of this type stuff, and pretty much lying on me. But now what we see is these prophecies coming to pass, right? We're seeing the people on the continent asking us to come back home. We're seeing that the AU is meeting together to formulate some kind of policy for our reparations and our return. All I'm saying is, I don't want to see these people when we go back personally. That's just how I feel. I don't want to see them on whatever boat or ship or plane I'm on. And then be honest with you, if they do think they're foundational Black Americans, I hope they keep their tail here. What's your thoughts, Brother Sean?
Right.
Brother Yacoba. Brother Yacoba.
Yeah. Yeah, who that, brother? Who was that? Pierre?
Yes. Before he answers, I just wanted to add something. Do you? And I'll mute and won't bother anymore. But do you think with this delegation of African Americans going over to be a part of this, do you think that we could push our brothers over there, because Africa has the power to force the United States to give us reparations by holding precious minerals and earth minerals and things of that nature. If they just put an embargo on the US and no African nations shipped anything over here, they could bring this economy down to the point where they'd be forced to give us reparations. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think we're going to, just like you see with Ghana, they said, unless you build something here, you can't have our resources. A lot of the other countries are doing the same thing. Unless you build something here, you can't have our resources. South Africa saying, oh, you're going to put sanctions on me? Well, I'm going to put sanctions. Look, who's going to hurt the most? The ones who got paper dollars or the ones who got the minerals, right? We got what we need. You know what I'm saying? But back to you, Brother Sean. And Tatiana, I need to see your face because you're new. I don't know who you are, so you're gonna have to show your face. You could put it back to whatever you want afterwards. All right, Brother Sean.
Right. So
okay, that's good. You can hide yourself now, Sister Tatiana. I'll put you on. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Sean.
Listening to the family today. My take on the topic for today is, I feel like many people are gonna miss out, on the blessing, the open door that the Most High has, in store for them, because they're seeing through, scripture, right? And logically, they're trying to act like they know it all, right? Whole time. it could play out in a way and, you know, in a fashion that may not be like the first Exodus, right? It's going to be more marvelous, right? It's going to be different. And yet we see the haters, right? They think, right, that, you know, we see the signs clearly. We see that the 10 horn kingdom is forming. We see that, you know, our people over there in our continent, right? Yasharal, right? The northern kingdom waking up slowly, the southern kingdom waking up as well, right? Calling back, you know, the people, you know, the diaspora to return back home, right? We see the prophecy is coming, you know, at a higher rate each year since, you know, the 400-year prophecy, you know, 2019. But these people, they'll see all of these signs coming into fruition, right? They'll see all of the signs coming, you know, the judgments coming as well. And then they will overlook all of that, right? Call it, you know, fear mongering, call it whatever term that they want to throw, right? Yet, just because expecting for angels to physically, you know, grab them and place them back over there to, you know, the Holy Land, which many of them don't even believe is the true Holy Land, which we believe and know to be, you know, sub-Saharan Africa. And so I believe that this ministry, right, is so blessed in the sense that, you know, the Most High, right, you know, is using this ministry to like make sure people don't miss their blessing, because even though, you know, they be looking for signs, you know, more, you know, supernatural signs, but this ministry showing that, you know, it may be in another fashion, it may be in a new fashion, which, you know, maybe more modernized, right? The first Exodus, the Most High, he used, you know, the parting of the Red Sea, right? Along that now he used that fashion because we were a nomadic people over there in Egypt, right? He used, you know, our circumstance back then, what would work more for us back then, who used to walk more on foot, right? To, you know, cater for our needs to return back to Canaan land. However, now we are not really nomadic people in a, you know, diaspora, right? We, you know, we have different fields of life. We have different, you know, courses of life. And so the Most High, he will use, you know, different and various ways to bring us back to the Holy Land. You know, this ministry, simply showing that, you know, keep your eyes open, don't miss your blessing because you think there's going to be some sort of, you know, supernatural instance. No way am I saying that it won't be supernatural in the sense of like, you know, in the same fashion as the first Exodus, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah, you know, Lot and Abraham being gathered out by the angels. It could be, you know, a mixture of that, but also be in ways that are more modernized, you know, to cater for our needs and our situations, being in a modernized, you know, society. And so, yes, I believe that these prophecies are no coincidence, right? You see that Ghana, right? Most of them are the tribe of Judah, right? You know, the Ashanti, right? We know all of that. You know, that's my heritage personally. And I know, you know, we're very hardworking people. And so I know, you know, when Judah returns from the four corners of the earth, when they finally return, like it says in scripture, and when they finally come and reunite with, you know, our ancestral fatherland, right? And we can make something generational, because we know that Judah, you know, the scepter of Judah shall not depart from us, right? We know that our hand should be on the neck of our enemies, and we know that, you know, all nations are blessed from us. That's why they don't want to let us go. But when we finally, you know, go our separate ways from these nations, actually focus on our own, you know, no longer have that colonizer mindset of pleasing, you know, the adversary, pleasing the enemy. When we finally have that quote unquote selfish mentality upon our own, right, putting our people first, right, you know, nepotism in a sense first, right, then the Most High, you know, he will bless us once again. We'll see those blessings, Deuteronomy 28 blessings, right? Blessed when you come in, blessed shall you come out, right? We'll see all of that, and we'll see generational wealth. We'll see, you know, our population growing more and more and more. We know that African population is growing more and more and more since 2019, according to, I think, the Deagle report as well back then. And so I just believe that just be, you know, encouraged basically, because the Most High, he has our back. He is our Most High, we are, the Most High's people. We are his helpers, right? Ezra, Alawi, right? The Israelites, the helpers of God. We carry that name. We are called by his name. And, the curses are over and are being, replaced to our enemies. And so now the blessings are upon us, and, just, keep your head up because our redemption draws nigh.
All right, thank you, Brother Sean. So I'm going to come back to you, Brother Karras, right after this. You could talk about the embargoes and the tariffs. I want to comment on this. FBA for FBA only, no tethers, no culture vultures. Africa owes reparations too. They sold human beings and caused this atrocity. African leaders should have looked out for their so-called people they put in this situation. Now, technically that is true, right? But at the same time, and what I find about foundational Black Americans is that they don't know the history. What I find about foundational Black Americans is that they have no idea that we're Israelites, nor do they care, right? Because if you did, you would know the context of what happened to our people and how we fell away from the Most High. And this is why Israelites sold Israelites. Some Israelites would tell you, no, it was the African Hamites that sold us. No, it was Israelites who sold us, right? It was your brethren, right? People from Dahomey, right?
Can I say something, Yakoba?
Yeah, but let me finish, and I'll let you. And the tribe of Dan is Dahomey. They're the ones that were over the kingdom of Dahomey, which was the tribe of Dan, who was a serpent in a way that caught it the rider to fall over and to fall off the horse, which we went into captivity. See, if you know the scriptures, you would understand also we had the northern and the southern tribes fighting each other because we are messed up people like that. You know what I'm saying? If anybody screwed up in this world, it's us. We are messed up people. We hate each other back then and we hate each other now. We sold each other out back then and we sell each other out today. We had agents back then in Africa. We got agents here in America today. So don't tell me, I'm going to tell you about foundational Black Americans. I understand where y'all coming from about that, but it's not all them Africans like y'all say, right? Y'all want to classify Africans as Hamites, right? But no, Africa is a continent full of multiple different ethnic groups, right? And so when you say Africans owe us reparations, you need to go to the nuances of that statement and be more specific about what Africans owe us reparations. All right, Sister Chantel and Brother Karras.
Brother Yakoba, I didn't mean to interrupt, but just can I comment briefly on what you just said?
No.
Okay, I won't be out of order, but okay, just sidebar there.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can come after Brother Karras. So Chantel, Sister Chantel, because she wanted to read something as well, and then we'll come back to Karras, and then for you, Brother Minister Rick. All right.
Oh, that's fine.
Sister
Thank
Chantel.
you, sir.
Okay. Before I just wanted to say, add on to what you was just saying, and it all began with was it 10 brothers selling one brother? So it started way back then anyway. So when people want to start saying, oh, they sold us, the 12 brothers have been doing this from way back. They forget that Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers. So, I just wanted that was the only thing I wanted to add. You allow me to do this now?
Yeah, go ahead and do your little poem. Okay. Then we'll go to Brother Karras.
Some people have already heard this on Karras's, but there's two of them that I'm going to read. So just bear with me because this is nerves. So, okay, this one's called, I don't know, maybe Undone, I suppose. Anyway, I run, I hide from my enemies. They are without love, kindness, and show no mercy. From them I flee because their hell follows me. Searching for relief, I feel so lonely. Evading their pursuit, I fall, I cry. All I can do is look up to the skies. I can't breathe because I'm buried beneath all of their lies. No matter how hard I try, I can't outrun them. They're nearby. Is this my fate? to fall into the hands of men that hate, for them to turn around and obliterate what you create. All they know is to take and take and still take until there's nothing left but bare bones. And the world looked on for 400 years and silently condoned. All the evils these people have done is just plain wrong. They prey on the weak and call themselves strong. Heaven knows that this can't continue to go on. Otherwise, everything good on this earth will be gone. The wicked rage because they know they ain't got long, because my Father's about to send them back to where they came from. But it don't end there. Hallelujah. Send up your prayers and your praise and your prayers, because our Father is taking us out of despair. This is the good news. Set up a standard and declare. He's bringing us home from Babylon, cleaned and repaired. No more strife, heartache, pain, anguish, nothing to fear. Our Savior draws near. Can you feel it? Can you sense it, Yasharel? The heavenly court is open and the trumpet's blown. Listen to his voice, because he's calling his own. It's time to go home. It's time to go home. It's time to come home. Right, that's the first one. Sorry. The next one, just give me a second. Okay, this one's called Rise O Africa. Okay. I'm so proud of Africa. Stay the course, do not falter. These devils will not stop, so don't give them no room or quarter. But take heart, beloveds. Yah is always on our side. Yah will take care of us all. These Gentiles will run and hide. They know their time is up. That's why these heathens rage. They know their days are spent. It's the end of their age. Their pride is going to get them. Every year it just inflates. Every year a new letter moves them closer to their fate. Their military is in shambles. Their economy is a bust. But they have so much time on their hands to lecture Africa, make a fuss. I knew if they went down this path, I knew where it would lead. I knew if they went down this path, I knew they would not succeed. Depopulation has always been their master plan. Depopulation to get us off our own land. The nerve of these creatures always take whatever they see, followed their father straight to hell, but first stop captivity. You wake up every day choosing violence and thought there would be no reward. Did you think our Heavenly Father would just look down and just ignore? Oh, you did? Well, that's a shame. Now the tables are reversed. Since you love to appropriate everything, you get to wear our designer curse. No Christian Louboutin for you, only blood on the soles of your feet. Just as our ancestors endured the long march under the sun's cruel heat. But for you, there will be no sun. It will be dark and bitterly cold. For all the evils you have done, you will never go back home. There is no redemption at the end of your miserable life. Just double on pain, heartache, hopelessness, and strife. For what do you think you deserve as a people who refuse to repent? You refuse to acknowledge your wrongs and insist that we relent. You claim that you are not like your forefathers, but please just look around. A second colonization from the West. They can't wait to put boots on the ground. But let me tell you this, try that mess for a second time and you'll find out. Abiyah ain't playing with you because he's listening to our cries and shouts. He's turned his eyes and his ears back to his people, and you are in real danger to fall into the hands of the living Yah. His wrath is something major. Because his reach is without end and his power absolute. We don't need no earthly friends when he sends down the heavenly troops. So tell me again, Macron and the West, what do you plan to do? Because if you don't know who you're messing with, you better pick up that book and read it through, because it don't look good for you. There, done.
That was awesome. I loved it. And I love the designer curses that they wear. That was tight.
Thank you.
All right, Brother Karras.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Chantel, because that was slam poetry, economic judgment poetry, or poetry in general. But here's the real poetry of how the Most High works. And I know Pierre had asked a question about, how is it that we have, or in terms of our brothers and sisters on the continent, they have all the economics, they have the wealth, they have the resources, but here's the reality of what it is. They have it, but they don't control it. And remember last year that all those troops in Mali that had sieged the Malayan forces, and they were sieged by forces that were rebels that were backed by Ukraine. And now all of a sudden, people are trying to ask, like the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of Treasury going over, hey, where's the money at? Man, y'all know where the money at. That money was funneled and sent over as mercenary forces to other countries. So you can't act coy now that all of a sudden, y'all are broke. So now understand these are third-party systems. And that's the way that things work. I'm going to use this country to do my work. I'm going to use this country to do my bidding. Now, let's think about this in this concept. If you know that you cannot face an enemy head on, because why? Because you'll get poisoned, you'll get deleted, and you'll get who knows for the Price is Right. Whenever you have that, a sense that you want to even help us, that's what happens. Now, the reality is, if you are Africa, how do you then manage that problem of being able to control your resources? Well, you need to have a proxy. Ergo, China. Yeah, people don't like China. I get it. But guess what? The point of it is, you need to have a proxy that will be able to work on your behalf as what? Agency. And a lot of people don't realize, hey, you may not like the agent. Okay, that's fine. The agent may be kind of screwed up. We get it. But guess what? If that agent needs funds, then that agent's going to work to do what? To get their paycheck. And their paycheck is what? Rare earth minerals. So now, do we see the dynamics here? You just can't go on up to the United States. Oh, we're going to withhold it. Okay, we're in your country next week. Matter of fact, just because you called, we already have planes diverted, and they should be there in less than 5 hours. No, it doesn't work like that. The way that it works is you have to go through the economic angle, or excuse me, diplomatic angles to then create those economic controls. And I know a lot of our people, and that's just how it goes. Our people are not versed in diplomacy. Because you want to know why? Because that's what we're kept away from. Oh, you should just do this. You should just do that. And then the same person that said, oh, they had our back, and then they get deleted. Well, we need to find somebody. Well, who's going to step up and do the job? Not me. So we had to be a lot more, I would say, couth in the way that we had to operate, and understand that's what the African continent's dealing with right now as we speak. Yes, they want us back, but guess what? Our oppressor holds us fast. That means our oppressor has a strong hand. Our oppressor doesn't just have our hand physically; he has our hands, his hand mentally and spiritually. So that is what we're facing. And yes, those are the mechanisms that's happening. So when you hear about China and the China trade war and China, guess what? They're saying that because who do you think China is doing this for? China needs the wealth. That wealth is on the continent. And guess what? We are the bargaining chip.
All right, thank you, Brother Karen. So, Minister Rick, you say it's gonna be short, right?
Yes. Yes.
All
Okay.
right. So after you, before you start, I'm gonna come to Yehuda Cub and then Tatiana after Minister Rick. All right, go ahead, Minister Rick.
I think.
And Joel, please show me your face because you haven't been on here before. But go ahead.
I think that we should get into the process of our people going home, and trust the process, and realize it is a process. It's not automatic. Oh, hey, I'm getting on the plane. Find out what people are doing. In Ezekiel, it says the Most High said, "Oh, mountains of Israel, I'm praying. You shall no more be." He's preparing the land. In Ezekiel, it's a process. The Most High is doing, and He has agents, us on the earth, that are supposed to be involved in that. But one of the things that gives me, I'm encouraged about in those same scriptures. He said, "You will know that I am the Most High." He said, first of all, He said, "I'm not doing it for you. It's because you profane my name in the land." But then He says, "The Gentiles will know that I'm doing it because when I sanctify myself in you." See, there's going to be a change. On all this change, there's going to be a change in us. And we ought to be agents of this change, doing what Karis did. Karis is doing among those young people. Our young people are described. These young people, they're not scared. They said that our young people, there'll be a lion among sheep.
Yep.
Among sheep, they're not prey, and they're ready to go. So, what I'm trying to say in terms of the FEA movement, America is not our ride or die. You
That's it.
believe America is the land of our nativity, not historically. It is the land of our captivity. Now, there may be a case for some people from the continent being over here earlier before all these white folks came over here and we're actually here. Okay, that may be so. But the fact of the matter is the Garden of Eden is in Africa. So that we're all from there. So in terms of our brothers over there and trying to drum up this thing, the two sticks are going to come together. See, it's all in the family. Esau is our evil twin, and Ishmael is our dirty uncle. And the anagram, I'm going to close with this. The United States is not a republic, it's an empire. So if you take the initials, USA Empire, USAE, that's an anagram for Esau. So that's what we're dealing with. Yes, the scepter will rise in Judah, and all these things, the movements are rising up. They're fighting against the two sticks coming together. The scepter
Yep.
coming from Judah, uniting, because when that happens, it's over for them. So
Yep.
I'll land my plane on that. There's an expression we use they talk about in audio. There's a signal and there's a noise. Signal to noise ratio. Get the signal and delete the noise. The bottom line, this is going. What part are you going to play in this thing? Because it's absolutely going to happen. It's been prophesied. The two sticks have come together. We are going back into Exodus, and America. Technically, by your definition, I'm at FBA, but America is not my ride or die. I'm not going to die here.
That's
And
it.
in fact, it says the people here are going to leave. The other folks going to be out of here too. The husbandmen and all that, they're going to go back to their own country, and our people are going to move, which is the way to Zion. So we out of here whether you like it or not. I'll land my plane on that.
All right. Thank you, Minister Rick. Judica.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I think given the current times, especially what's been happening with the new administration, and I feel like everything's kind of coming into play. Like you say, you often use the analogy of chess and how certain moves lead into other moves to set a trap. And it feels like with modern times, resourcing, they're already prepping people to let resourcing know it's going to be scarce. And the new method of asymmetrical warfare is a lot of the superpowers that can't sustain themselves. What they're doing is they're going to foreign nations, they're occupying those foreign nations, and they're taking the resourcing. But we see that the primary target is Africa. And like you said, like it doesn't seem like they're naturally pushing us out, whether that be purposeful on their part, or maybe that's the Most High using them to kind of force us to speed up our movement outside of America so we're not suffered through their judgment. But there's places in Africa that are already there. America's already there. China's already there. Russia's already there. It seems like no matter what, it's going to require us to defeat those types of things, a complete trust in the Most High, like you said. Like, it's not going to be, we could probably look to another nation to come rescue us or look to another person. But I think everything is forcing us to go back to the statutes and commandments that He had us try to understand in the first Exodus, like humility and absolute trust in Him. Like Sister Chantel made a good point. I think often we like to take the benefits of what it means to be the people, and particularly maybe like the tribe of Judah, because there's so much pride that comes with that. It's the house of the Messiah, it's the house of David. But we also got to accept the bad things that came prior to that too, and our roles in that, whether that not be our direct roles, but the roles of our ancestors. Like she said, Judah was one of the tribes that sold Joseph into slavery into the Egyptians. We're also the same tribe that knew the Messiah, persecuted the Messiah, and rejected him. So I feel like we should be humble enough to take whatever help our brothers on the continent and sisters are willing to give us and be like, I forgive you the same way Joseph forgave his brothers. And I'll just land my plane there with that.
All right, thank you, the Cub. Tatiana?
Hello, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good. How you doing?
Okay, sweet. Thank you so much. I'm okay. Thank you very much, Minister Yakoba. I just wanted to come to share something that, every time I try to type, it's just erased somehow. So basically, I am originally from Angola, which used to be part of Congo, but obviously it was divided and it was for as in the Portuguese owned Angola, basically. And they got the independence in 75 or so. So what's really interesting is last year the president of Angola was in the US, but obviously they normally not invited to the White House. I mean, maybe the one from Kenya because obviously he agreed with Bill Gates that their children can be microchipped, etc. So so fine, whatever. So since he's not invited to the White House, someone invited him to a slave museum, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know which one. I can't remember. And he was quite moved because the reality is he didn't really understand the history and what happened to our people. They went to the US. So that was really interesting. Okay, fine. So 2 months ago, Biden went to Angola for the first time, which I don't know why. Like I didn't really see in the Western media. But Biden was in Angola. Why? Well, because apparently China does not want to give them the minerals that they need for the microchips. So they want the minerals from Congo, and he wants to take it out through Angola. So he wanted to invest in some kind of corridor. Oh yeah, it's called Lobito Corridor, so that he can take the minerals from Congo through Angola to the US. Fine. So it was really interesting because what the president of Angola did is he took him to our slave museum in Angola, which is on the coast in a port, specifically where our people were taken, right? And he asked Biden to acknowledge that that the US took our people, okay, which Biden did acknowledge. And I don't know, because the president is not a Pan-Africanist in any way, shape, or form. And I just kept thinking, wow, this is all the Most High. I can tell you, like this president, he's not really into that sort of thing. This is all orchestrated by the Most High. And pretty much to me, it just seems like he's organizing the steps so that eventually, even I don't know if people are interested or not, but that's basically the way in which people could potentially also go back to Angola if they wanted to. So just because I was kind of seeing it happening in real time, I just thought it was really interesting. That's all that I wanted to share.
A few questions for you, Sister Tatiana.
Yeah.
Where are you? Did you grow up in Britain or something? Because your accent, it don't sound like I would think an yeah.
Yeah, I am African. I was born in Angola, but yeah, I had this sort of parents who were like, no, you have to go to Europe. You need to go and study in Europe and be European. And actually, you know what? Don't even come back. But yeah, the Most High has other plans. Yeah.
Okay. And I would think you probably up there because you have a sophisticated accent, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Israelites, we're very good with languages. So if you take a child pretty early, we adapt so easily. Like I especially sometimes I see in the US, I see people that you guys assume that are born and raised in the US, and I can tell like, no, these people ain't even from over here. But anyway, yeah.
And my other question is, did you all know that you were Israelites? Because, the history from Portugal and Spain and how you all were sent to, they wasn't called Angola back then. It was the Congo and Zaire and all that stuff. That you all were sent there, during that whole period of the Inquisition and all of that. Did you all have that history?
No, you guys are leading the way. We have no idea about nothing because basically most people, they are concerned, like the previous generation, they still traumatized with the civil war. The other generation, they want hospitals and they want to be able to eat and have jobs. So generally speaking, people don't think about this sort of thing, and we are quite ignorant. I myself, I have learned with you guys, and when I say you guys, I just say Judah, generally speaking, in the US. And I didn't really, I mean, I believed everything that I read and that I, researched and so forth, but I wasn't thinking that I was into the mix at all. And it was some brothers that were saying, no, but you probably are. And I was like, stop it, what are you talking about? So one day I decided to fast, and I just asked God, I said, listen, if this is really true, can you just clarify and make it really, really clear in a way that even a child can understand? Because I'm a little bit confused now. So he pretty much 2 months later told me that I'm from the tribe of Asher. And I was like, okay. But long story short, no, we don't know. And I'm trying to say that to people because obviously, everybody's like, oh, for example, the Bible, they say no. I mean, the ones that are kind of activists, etc., they think that the Bible, belongs to other people, and it's so confusing. But yeah, we're trying, but no, we don't know much about it. That's the reality of the situation.
Okay, because I find this interesting. I'm gonna come to you after this, Brother Joe, but I want to ask Brother Sean one thing, because most of the people, and I'm assuming you're still in England or Britain, Sister Tiana.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, because my question
Although,
Brother,
let me just quickly say
ahead.
to you, maybe I should, but basically, the Most High said to me, I literally just did it, like just sent a few boxes over there. The Most High said to me that I need to send some of my stuff to Angola, because he said, just send some stuff over there because I want you to go back. And if you don't send some stuff now, when it's time for you to go, whenever that is, you're gonna have to go without nothing. So I don't know what he means by that, but I've done it. But yeah.
Okay, because I find this interesting, right? Because let me ask Brother Sean, because Brother Sean, most of the people that I've met from Britain, or from Jamaica, the Windrush era, I haven't met too many people from Angola and from Africa. Have you met a lot more people from Africa who are, I guess citizens or natural citizens or whatever it is in Britain there?
Yeah, but I'd say it's been like way more recent than compared to, let's say, a couple of decades before.
Okay, but y'all do y'all fellowship at all, or is it like, the Windrush stay with the Windrush, the Africans, from Africa stay with the Africa, or because here's the thing, I know like in Jamaica you have that whole community of the what you call them, the ones who believe in Haile Selassie, what's their name?
Rastafarians,
yeah. So you have a lot of them. They're African conscious. So I was wondering, do both of the sides ever interact there, or is it like now that we're starting to wake up, we're sort of aware of each other now, where before we really didn't have anything to do with each other?
Yeah, I'd say that because I did notice before the separation between different groups, right? Different ethnicities from Africa, but now when people are starting to be more conscious and more aware of the bigger picture of what's actually going on, and the fact that we have no one but ourselves, I'm starting to see way more unity in mind and just overall being together now amongst the African community.
Okay. Yeah, I find this interesting because
agree.
I'll let you speak. I just wanted to say I find this interesting because it shows that the awakening is happening even faster than we thought, right?
Yeah.
That all of the different branches of the Israelites are starting to awaken. But yeah, go ahead, Sister Tatiana.
Yes, I just want to say that I agree with what was said. And one thing about people from Angola, we are chameleons. As in, so if someone goes to France, you can't tell that that person ain't even French. Like we just adapt so quickly. And it's true now that the two sticks are coming together. We're a bit more conscious, and we try and see and speak with people, and but yeah, before in the past, it was so bizarre. Like Angolan people they like the worst. They just adapt. It's almost like they erase their full identity and they just become whatever they are. But yeah, that's all.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just love it because this just shows that the awakening, as I always felt, is happening massively around the world, and every section of the Israelite community is starting to awaken to the truth. I love it, and that goes to show all the haters, right, that you can't stop prophecy. You can't stop it, right, Brother Joe.
Shalom, family. How y'all doing?
All right, how you doing?
All right. I had a question. I guess this was more so for Karis and you, Yakoba. I heard that Saudi Arabia is now in Burkina Faso, like helping them with like security, and I think they brought over their some of their military. I don't know if they're like helping training or anything like that. I just wonder if you guys heard about this and how does that play into things.
I thought they were like in Mali or Niger or something. What is it, Brother Karras? I don't know. I heard something about them, but I don't know exactly where.
So so understand. So Saudi Arabia is and I have a personal contact of mine who is actively in the Saudi military, and they are actively in the continent, but they're in the continent not for reasons of the colonialization efforts. Really, they're in the continent because they're trying to hedge their bets. They're trying to hedge their bets. They have the breakdown that's going on amongst obviously that Eastern Mediterranean nation, and what is happening in Gaza. And on top of that, they understand that they turned down BRICS, but they said as they turned down BRICS back in October at the Kazan summit held by Russia, which introduced the alternative payment systems, BRICS Pay, MBridge, and Clear. These are the financial settlement transactions or systems that are now being actively developed. What Saudi Arabia is trying to do, they're trying to hold out as best as they can as the middleman, before really the house collapses, right? So what they're trying to create, they're trying to create some economic leverage, and not in the point of trying to do what the West had done, but they're trying to be a little bit more subtle, because they know that they're being looked at because of their generational role towards the United States. So they're trying to gain really that political currency, and honestly the West does not like that, because the loyalties have really changed. So in terms of what Saudi Arabia is doing, they're trying to have a hearts and minds campaign on the continent. Hey, we're close to you all in proximity. Matter of fact, shoot, we have a lot of you all sitting up in Saudi Arabia, working. And I've seen that firsthand. That's how they move their camels and their sheeps and things across, that barren behind desert landscape. And it's a lot of our people from the continent driving those camels. So, the trust of these Arab nations, they've just it has dissolved, and now they're trying to build that on up on the African continent, because they know that they don't have um the wherewithal to sustain themselves if they even lose the support of the African continent. And you also have to understand, you have Islamic Organization of Islamic Cooperation. You also have some other different entities and enterprises that's there. So they come in as the Islamic, you know um, through the Islamic door with a lot of these countries. And Burkina Faso does happen to be one of those countries that you have really a 50-50 per se of Christianity and Muslim. So so again, look, if you know that you're getting ready to lose a resource because the main, power supplier is really, dying on the vine, which is what America's doing, right? This is a time that Saudi Arabia knows, hey, we either have to come in and try to, do a different model, or else, we're going to be looking like Europe. And they can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, they still don't treat our people right, though. Brother Pierre, there's something you want to say?
Yeah, Brother Koba, have y'all heard reports that I was hearing my brother speak just now, and a lot of the weapons that Burkina Faso, they're getting a lot of weapons to try to defend themselves. Kudos to Ibrahim on that. But I've also heard reports that Ibrahim has been at odds with Paul Kagame because they feel that Paul is behind the supporting the West with the fight, or the rebel warriors M23 in the Congo. Have y'all heard anything about that? And just when we think that we're unifying, you have something like this come up.
Well, in my opinion, from what I've heard, and I haven't looked at the evidence that much, but everybody's saying Paul Kagame and Rwanda are, the main backers of M23, and they're the ones that's causing all of this trouble, working for the French and for the Western nations. What do you hear, Karis? Karis might have stepped away.
Okay. No, I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
I'm working on 5 things at once, but no. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this: you can never really believe the reports of the West. Now, in terms of Rwanda's traditional, Rwanda wanted to make itself a Switzerland of, say, for Africa, particularly East Africa. Rwanda wants to be a Singapore of sorts for the M-Pesa and also other transaction flows. And in order to do that, you still have to be on the CFR. And to be on the CFR, you still have to be subservient to France. So in terms of the outlook, it may not have the veracity, or it may not actually have, that level of solid reporting. However, right, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they do not submit to the will of the French, then their wealth is gone too. So the problem then that you have is, you have the DRC. What's in the DRC? Well, again, all of these artificial borders, they're all artificial. So if they're trying to then, extract gold and things of that nature, to say, hey, I'm going to hold on to this gold for you all until you all can kind of get things settled down, the whole thing is, we may not know the story. And the real reality is, we don't know the story, because all Congo has been, a hungry hippo smorgasbord, because that is really where all of the wealth lays at. When I've heard stories, when I was there in Tanzania, the plan was to try to go on out to Congo. I kind of wanted to go on out to Congo. I knew it was a little dangerous, but hey, I wanted to look. I'm just that type of brother. But I really wanted to see what life was there with my own eyes, because these folks have more access to gold than they do a loaf of bread. Is that crazy?
Yep.
So now imagine that. Imagine where these folks are going through, and it's a gold rush, and it's a gold rush that, more than likely is being proxied by the West. And, every leader, you had Kagame up there in France, a few years ago. They'll put their heirs, they'll put their front, and then this, in the same vein, they're going to be, forked tongues. So that's one of the things that we as a people have to understand, because the more that folks then become forked tongues, right, the more they get exposed, and then the more they become targets by their own people, because these African nations, their people aren't having it like that anymore. All that mess is over.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go through some of these articles that I got to get through these, and we're gonna get some final comments after I go through all of that. All right. So come home. Ghana told the African diaspora now some Black Americans take its citizenship. Flipping through a family album, Kachia Bowers paused on a photo of her as a baby on her father's lap as he held the 78 album, Africa Stand Alone by the Jamaican Reggae Culture. When I was 10 years old, I was supposed to come to Ghana with him, she said, a day earlier. She had marked 10 years since her father's death. Though he was a Pan-Africanist who dreamed of visiting Ghana, he never made it here. Bowers and her husband, Damon Smith, however, among the 524 diaspora members, mostly Black Americans, who were granted Ghanaian citizenship in a ceremony in November. All right, so they were granted citizenship. Now, I'm gonna say this, right? I don't care what you say, because a lot of people don't understand the prophecies. But I'm gonna ask Brother Karras this. I mean, I don't want a deep answer, but Brother Karras, would this not fall in line with us leaving, right, and returning back to the homeland from the place we were taken? I mean, whether or not you call it flee or whatever, I'm just saying we got all of this people returning back to the land where they were taken from, Jeremiah 29. I'm just saying.
Well, Brother Yacoba, listen, I had to fix my my Olympic, Speedo before I jumped into that 10-meter deep pool dive of this analysis. But really, the bottom line is, look, if they're doing that in Ghana, and you see that it's that they're trying to establish a process in Burkina Faso, now you already know that that's going to be for other Sahel nations and Sahel states. You already know that that's going to probably, more than likely, be mimicked in Niger and in Mali. And more than likely, you're going to start to see other countries like Senegal and Chad potentially, and Guinea potentially. All these different countries, they're now running on board, because now they've really found out what it is that we have done here in the United States. And someone has said it earlier, I believe it was Roderick W., right? Look, we leave, the shield is gone. The shield is deactivated. Exactly. You want to know who the real Iron Dome was out here in the U.S.? It was us. We were the real Iron Dome. And now we said we're not going to do it anymore. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, just as you said, other nations and countries are going to do the same. Here's Benin. Mm-hmm. Benin grants citizenship to slave descendants as it faces its own role in the trade. But yet, this ministry gets a lot of heat, but yet the prophecies coming to pass. I'm like, way since before 2019, right? Engaging the Bissau Guinean diaspora for the development of the country. Primary research has demonstrated that the Bissau Guinean diaspora are a strategic resource in the development of the country. They are either contribute directly by providing capital for economic investments, or indirectly by utilizing their expertise and networks to drive forward Guinea-Bissau's agenda at a global scale. How can we improve the fractured relationship between the diaspora and the state? The Bissau Guinean diaspora has always been on the Accelerator Lab's radar due to its importance on the social, political, and especially economic impact of the country. Despite our keen interest to learn and interact more with the diaspora, our main bottleneck has always been our inability to pinpoint where our diaspora is located in the world. There are obvious hubs such as Senegal due to geographical location and historical ties during the 1998 Civil War, and Portugal due to colonial history and legacies. However, even these distinct hubs with the apparent presence of Bissau Guinean diaspora, there is no concrete data to confirm their overall size, with more recent estimates being around 30,570 in Senegal and 28,000 in Portugal. Through an in-depth research, we found that the Bissau Guinean diaspora has either completely disengaged with the country or connects only economically via remittances to family or local small-scale NGO dedicated to social causes. From our research, lack of trust was a recurring issue, so we wanted to understand and answer the following questions. Why are basal Guyanians not interacting with governmental services in the diaspora? Why is there a disconnect between diaspora and the state? Why are people avoiding official government channels? So not only do they want their own people to return, they want people who are not Guyanians or Senegalians to return. Let's look more at this, right? We got the Blacksit. Blacksit is a social movement that promotes the repatriation of Black African Americans from the United States and Europe to Africa. The term now includes all people of African heritage who desire to move to Africa for many reasons, including new economic growth opportunities and cultural reasons. Combined with African countries which are now seeking to gain skilled and educated migrants, a growing movement has been formed with the Ghanaian president Nana Akufo-Addo declared in 2019 with the year of return, and in accordance with his declaration, he made immigration to Ghana, especially for members of the African diaspora communities. With more African countries now granting citizenship to people of African descent who want to claim nationality, including Sierra Leone, Rwanda, Benin, Ghana, and Zambia, Benin are moving to grant citizenship to anyone who can prove their ancestry to Africa. With new economic growth of the region, African countries are now actively working to gain investment and skilled labor for people of African heritage and immigrated Africans. Ethiopia's central bank governor, Mamo Mehretu, has publicly called upon the Ethiopian diaspora to get involved in the new opportunities created by the ongoing economic reforms in Ethiopia to benefit themselves and their homeland. With notable people of African heritage such as Idris Elba relocating to Africa to create Zollywood, Akon creating his own city in Senegal called Akon City, and Ludacris obtaining Gabonese citizenship, the movement is gaining new investment with the view of making Africa a thriving continent, right? So, Idris Elba, why I'm planning to move to Africa, he wants to build Zollywood. I'm not going to go read the whole thing. All I'm doing is I'm showing you that prophecies are coming to pass. It's just that my idiotic detractors don't know the scriptures, right? Door of Return. The Door of Return is an emblem of African Renaissance and is a Pan-African initiative that seeks to launch a new era of cooperation between Africa and its diaspora in the 21st century. The name is a reference to the Door of No Return, a monument commemorating the transatlantic slave trade. On August 24, 2017, Nigeria erected the first symbolic Door of Return. Who? Nigeria. Door of Return monument as part of the Diaspora Festival of Badagry. The symbolic monument was unveiled under the auspices of the Honorable Abike Dabiri, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Diaspora and Foreign Affairs. The Badagry Door of Return experience is a cultural event commemorating the homecoming of diasporic Africans who are descendants of African ancestors who were taken away as slaves to the Americas over the course of some 400 years during the transatlantic slave enslavement of African people. All right. Back to Africa movement. The Back to Africa movement was a political movement in the 19th, 20th centuries advocating for a return of the descendants of African-American slaves to the African continent. So this movement has been going on all the way since the times of Marcus Garvey, right? All the way down to the present day. It's been a slow, progressive movement, right? Now, this is African Diaspora Decade of Return, right? So they had a decade of return. The idea of an African Diaspora Decade of Return came from the African Union, or the AU, African Diaspora 6 Region Community Council, Europe, in cooperation with the Global African Diaspora Union. Soon after the launching of the Ghana Year of Return, the year was seen as an excellent opportunity and strategy for the faster and effective implementation of AU Diaspora 6 Region Declaration. And Brother Karras could probably speak more on that. All right. So then we also have the Kolunga Project. The Kalunga Project was a project initiated by the Angolan government to reconnect with those of the diaspora with Brazil. This tour was not only political, but also a social commentary connecting Brazil and Angola through music, as well as through pop culture. Brazilian performers were invited to tour Angola, performing as an act of solidarity to the Communist Party during the Angolan Civil War. The tour took place in the cities Luanda, Lobito, and Benguela. All of the more 60 performers and artists supported MPLA in their fight for independence, right? And so, as we mentioned, right, we have all of these people investing, or at least planning to invest, like Idris Elba, Ludacris, and things like that. I'm just saying, the reason why most people can't see the prophecies coming to pass and they want to attack this ministry for telling you the truth is because they have no eyes to see. And they're going to be the same ones falling under judgment because they didn't know the time of their visitation. Let's get final comments. We're going to start with you first, Fort Living Groom Homestead.
All right. Sorry, it's late here where I'm at. I'm a little out of it. I apologize.
Okay.
No, I guess, wow. Again, there's just so much going on, and here on the continent, life is just so much better. There's so much healing that needs to be done with our people, and all the talk that people say about people don't want us here, we don't belong on the continent, and this and that is from my personal on the ground experience, is a 100% lie. We've been greeted with nothing but love since we've been here. And just a quick comment on what you were saying about the resources and everything that are here. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. Just today, for example, we went to look at trees with and some other things that they have as far as what do you call it, nurseries. Mango trees, 50 cents, banana trees, 50 cents. Just the level of resources that are here, and just looking at the people and them not understanding the true wealth that they have. With us coming to the continent and bringing the two sticks together, this is how I see the entire liberation happening, is with our assistance in us helping our brothers and sisters and enlightening them and really helping them to see what they really have and what's really going on. I really think that's when things are going to start to click, is when more of us actually return back home and start putting in this work and working with the people. With that being said, that's pretty much it. And lastly, I'd like to thank you, Brother Yakoba, for all the work you've been putting in, and you too, Brother Karis. Real talk, I wouldn't even be where I'm at right now, Brother Yakoba, if you hadn't been sticking to your guns so hard. And I respect and I appreciate you, brother.
All right, I thank you for the kind words, Brother Living Groom, and appreciate you coming on. So I want to comment right quick before we go back to the final comments. Yakoba, your moderator, Pacina, says Jerusalem is in South Africa. Everybody's worthy of their own opinion. I don't care. I think it just, most people haven't done the research. And, South Africa is part of the promised land, right? Sub-Saharan Africa is part of the promised land, right? But Jerusalem is over there in East Africa. And, there's many reasons, as I state in my book, that prove that. Be honest with you, I don't think anybody can defeat the evidence in my book. They can't. The most they could do is gaslight it, right? That's about it. All right, so let's continue. Final comment, Brother Sean.
Shalom. So, we have a lot to look forward to as a people, and that's basically what keeps me going each day, knowing that our people were not finished. The enemies may try again, in generations to come, Ezekiel 38, that won't happen until a long time. But we have, a grace period right now where we can claim and reclaim what was ours, right? Our rulership our glory, and just our productivity that we always were blessed to have, as the Most High has chosen. And so, this ministry, keep up the good work, as watchmen of the Most High, you know, waking up the sheep, telling people, like warning people of what's to come, not just warning, but also, enlightening people of what to expect, and blessings, open doors that the Most High has, in place for us. We will go back to our Holy Land, Sub-Saharan Africa. That will happen soon. In terms of how that will happen, in terms of, being accurate, being precise, we don't have the full picture. Most of us don't have the full picture of, what John saw in Revelation, because, he saw it and he wrote it down in a way that he could, put it down in human words. So we just see through a glass, darkly. But yet, when time is coming more and more, because the Most High said that the days will be shortened for the elect's sake. When time is shortening for that sake, and we see that prophecy is coming to a faster rate each year, we're going to see, what John was, actually, witnessing back then in 70 AD. And so, I believe we're in the time of Revelation 12. The woman is being chased by the dragon, which we know to be, the Edomite alliance system right now, right? We know that, the 10-horn kingdom is forming, through bricks. And we know that, at the same time, the Most High is setting up his kingdom, which shall not fall. And so, we in our house, as for us, we will serve Yahuwah and we will return back to our holy land to serve him in one piece, to build back and reclaim what is ours. We know that the nations don't want to let us go because we are Judah, we are the salt of the earth. But yet, regardless, we're going back, some of the Gentile believers that cleave to us, they can come too, but as far as we're concerned, we don't really need them. They need us the same way that Africa doesn't need the world needs Africa, right? So regardless, they come or they don't come, none of our problem. But we're just blessed that the Most High, he has not forsaken his people. And soon we will see the glory of Zion, and soon, we'll see that, everything that we've been saying for years was not in vain, because right now we're seeing it with our very own eyes. And so, with that, I just say, just keep your eyes on the lookout for what's about to come in the coming months.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Brother Sean. Appreciate it. So I want to make a comment. Somebody say Jerusalem is in South Africa. You could believe that if you want. You could believe it's in the Congo as well. I don't believe that. I don't think you can prove your case that Jerusalem is in South Africa. I don't think you can prove your case that it's in the Congo. There's no evidence of that whatsoever, right? Now, can you prove it is part of the promised land given to our ancestors? Yeah, it's part of the promised land, but it's not Jerusalem. That's foolishness, and there's not one lick of proof to prove that. All right, final comments, Brother Joe.
Far as the other two brothers just stated, I agree with that. Far as when we get on the continent, it's time to put in work. I think, Jacoba, you have proven your point over and over again about us going back to the motherland. It's just happening. I mean, if you can't see it, I don't know what else to say to you, right? So at this point, it's about what we're gonna do when we get back there, because it's going to happen. And we have to also remember that, like I said, there is that window of that standard being set up while the 10-toe kingdom is also being established. So we have to make sure we take advantage of that before, let's say China per se tries to act like Babylon. We have to get our foot onto the continent and start to make change. If one thing we can learn from Trump is, as soon as we get in office, go to work. If that's the only thing we can get out of this, is just do that. And so to the family, I love you, man. We going home. Praise Yah.
All right, appreciate it, brother Joel. Thanks for coming on. So I wasn't talking to you, Pochina, when I said that. I was talking to Olga George, right? And you literally have no proof. Even though there's a place in South Africa, in the Kalahari Desert called Jerusalem, or they call that Jerusalem, there's no evidence. There's no supporting historical, biblical evidence based upon the biblical text, based upon the historical documents, based upon what Jasher says and Jubilee says. There's nothing, right? There's literally nothing. Does it fit sub-Saharan Africa being the promised land? Yes. But it's in terms of Jerusalem, no. All right. Final comment, Brother Pierre.
Yes, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. I wanted to say what the brothers, the first brother spoke of, how blessed it is to be there. I've been there twice. Been to Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana. Been there um, um, 2 times. I just got back, and I'm planning to go back sometime this year, August. I married a Zimbabwean lady, and I'm hoping she mentioned to me to get my citizenship there while I'm there. You know, just because I'm prepared in a way of being a citizen of Zimbabwe, having a spouse from Zimbabwe, you know, asset, whatever, doesn't mean I will make it out. I'm praying that I will be able to make it out. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm praying that I can make it out, but I'm praying also that all my loved ones and most of us do make it out. What I want to caution against is when we get there, we don't act like the colonizers. Yes, like the last brother just said, we need to get to work. We do need to get to work, but we need to go and contribute and not try to take over. Because if we go over and try to take over, those people are going to see us like the indigenous people here saw the colonizers. Let's go. Let's be brothers. Let's love on each other. Let's go and contribute and build that place up. Now, I want to say this one thing. Um, I know, and this is off completely off the subject of what I just spoke about. When Elon was in the White House, in the Oval Office, having a speech, with Trump sitting behind the desk, his young son spoke to. There's this viral video going around saying that his son told him told Elon's son told Trump to be quiet. He's not the president, and
He
that
said,
basically
shut your MNF mouth is what he said. You not the president.
exactly. But you know what, Jacoby, what that reminded me of, and what the last brother just said. What that reminded me of was the scene when Moses went and took the crown off of Pharaoh's head and put it on his head. And all of the people, the seers, saw Moses being the leader, of the future leader. Well, is that replaying itself with Elon, with the establishment of this ten toes um, European thing that's about to hit us? So um, I don't know, Yukoba. I may be a little sketchy on that statement or that philosophy or that vision or whatever. But maybe you know, I leave all of the deep knowledge because I respect you guys about your knowledge more than that I put in my own. But no slouch, but I still respect you guys. So if y'all somebody could look into that, maybe it's maybe we're seeing exactly what those our ancestors saw back in the day when Moses took the crown off Pharaoh's head and put it on his own head. So again, y'all, let's go, let's get out of here. There will be an exodus, and Yakoba, I'm 100% behind you, brother. um, that's all I have to say. Love everyone and enjoying the shows, man. Let's just keep this up.
Thank you for coming on, Brother Pierre. Minister Rick, final comment?
Yes, there will be an exodus. We will leave here, but we need to work to make sure we're not going there empty-handed. We should be getting resources. There's another work that has to be done. The people that are doing the work, the Most High is doing the work. I don't believe the land is ready yet. He said in Scripture, he says the mountains of Israel. But I ask that we do not neglect the work that needs to be done in us. I keep on referring to Kairos and the experience he's having in the classroom. That's where I experience it. There's some people, a generation that's going to be younger than us, that's going to be ready to take the continent and go over there and do all those things. And we have to prepare them. So, but know this, that the Most High is on our side. Jacob, he is loved. Esau, he is hated. He is angry at the wicked every day. Yah is on our side. It absolutely is going to happen. Myself, I'm looking at what tools can I take over there? What do I have that I can take with me that's going to be of some use over there? Because we have to, that's what they're looking for. They're not looking us to, they're not trying to bring a welfare state over to Africa. They want us to come with something. So again, do the work in our people. There's some healing things, some issues we can settle here while we're waiting for the Exodus, even though, but we absolutely are going to go. Just get yourself together and be prepared to bring something to the table, because we have to develop Africa when we get there.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Minister Rick. Appreciate it. Brother Karras, final comment?
Hey, Shalom. Just giving honor to whom honor is due, Brother Yakoba. You and your brother Teyu put these wheels into motion. 2015, I woke up in 2016. I didn't know what the Most High had intended in this awakening, at least for me. And now at the end of this captivity, and we all can see the end of this captivity, and it doesn't take a ad lib from The Rock, from WWF or E to understand what's happening, as this SmackDown is about to come. So, as we are heading towards this, I said this on the channel or on Q2A earlier today. Look, and as Minister Rick had stated this, look, we have been given a tremendous opportunity in the background to do the work. However, it's still going to take a little bit of time to get there. This is not going to be an overnight process, but the Most High is literally opening up doors for us to do the work on the continent. And I invite each and every one of you, if you have not signed up for Q2A, we need to be able to have volunteers that would like to be in the process, to be in line for these opportunities that's getting ready to open up. And these opportunities, they're opening up, family. I get excited to see what's happening. I get excited to understand how big this is.
So, Karras,
yes.
Let the family know, not detail, but how we all been behind the scenes working things with the continent.
I don't know about you, Brother Yakoba.
Looking out for our people.
I'm in a different silo, Brother. I don't know about you, Brother Yakoba.
I'm just saying, it's not like we don't be doing stuff. Y'all just don't know everything, but we still looking out for the family. We looking out for the family. That's all we telling you.
Yeah, and again, listen, there's a lot of NDAs signed. There's a lot of silos that are created, because at the end of the day, when you are doing things for our people and you have these types of avenues for our people to do the work that is needed on the continent, the people that I am working for and working with, they have kept things very siloed, and they are moving with the grace and favor of the Most High. And it is so awesome to see doors that are open that you think have closed, and then they open, and then it opens to more doors, and then the doors that are open when you think small, other people are thinking big, and it just becomes phenomenal. And I hope that's kind of accurately depicting that, Brother Yakoba.
Yeah. I mean, that's about all we can really say. But know that Know that we looking out for the family. We got plans, and because we believe the Bible, right? We believe the scriptures, and we moving with the vision and the view, and by faith, what the Most High has given all of us, not just us here, but many other people, right? So,
and also just a quick shout out. We have tremendous volunteers that are there that are working on getting folks processed to get them into the right teams. So then our projects and initiatives, which we have many of, are going forward. And part of this is we have to learn our family again. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, all we're doing is we're serving not our purpose, but the Most High's purpose. And that's what we're learning how to do. We're literally learning how to be servants of our family, of our brothers, of our sisters, because that is what we are as Judah. Not just takers, but really we are givers. And when we give, I'm telling you, it is an awesome thing to see the faces of our people when they see what you're all about. And it's not just about, all right, I like you, now get out the way and give me the gold. Give me what you need to know. But when you have that genuine concern and compassion, our people read that. Our people read that. Our people are readers, man. All of them, worldwide. Come on, act crazy if you want to. Man, we stop you right at the door. You ain't getting into the club. We saw you 100 places away. That's how we are. Because we know it. And they know it. And when I'm telling you it's genuine, oh my goodness. It's not when the person has said, oh man, you feel the atmosphere. No, you feel the love of the land, the love of the people. And the land literally loves you. The land, we could talk about vibrations, all that other stuff. That would be red. All right. Well, again, Brother Yakoba, thank you for helping to wake me up. That's what I like to say. Thank you, because we don't know the positive influences and how this chain reaction goes. Am I right, Brother Yakoba? Am I right?
That is true.
Come on now.
That is true.
Come
and
on
the other thing, which I respect for Brother Karras, is that he shows you as he's going through as well, when he's struggling through and still persevering and faithful to the Most High. It's very few of us that, we'll tell you what we're going through, right? And how it ain't all roses, right? We go through trials and tribulations and struggles, right? And but the Most High is faithful and he keeps us going, huh, Brother Care?
He keeps us going. I think he injects me with some spiritual crack in the morning, like, get up. I'm a spiritual Pookie and Ray Ray. All right, Father, I need that fix.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, shalom. Y'all have a blessed Shabbat. I'm out of here. Thanks again, Brother Yakoba. I love you all.
Thanks, Brother
Praying for you
Care.
all. All right, shalom.
All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play the rest of that video I was playing earlier about J Travels, and then I'm gonna play part of another video because Brother Pierre was saying where he was gonna be moving to, which is really interesting. But let's finish looking at this particular video.
It's all going to be a bed of roses. I'm not saying you won't find any challenges, you won't find bad people. No. It's going to be tough at first, yes. You have never lived here, so at first it will look like a foreign land, maybe even not so advanced in technology like where you come from. Something which may make you feel like you are in the wrong place. But you just have to give it time and your soul will be at peace. So, let me take you now to Ghana's year of return. The first country in Africa that opened its doors to blacks in the diaspora was Ghana, and that was back in 2019. I guess there is a reason they call it the gateway to Africa, a land of rich history, deep culture, and a beacon of hope for black people around the world. Today, we take a deep look into Ghana's Black Return Policy, or Year of Return. its historical roots, its significance today, and why you, our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, should come home. So, to understand why Ghana calls on the black diaspora to return, we must go back in time, and I mean way back, which is over 400 years ago, when millions of Africans were forcefully taken from these very shores, sold into slavery, and scattered across the world. The pain of our ancestors still lingers in the walls of Elmina and Cape Coast castles. The echoes of their cries are carried by the winds that sweep across the Atlantic Ocean. But despite this painful past, Ghana has never forgotten its lost children. Through resilience and strength, the people of Ghana have created a thriving, welcoming nation, and now the doors are open for you to return. In 2019, Ghana launched the Year of Return to commemorate 400 years since the first African slaves were taken to America. It was a powerful call to the African diaspora to reconnect with their roots. Thousands answered the call, and thousands are still answering the call. From African Americans and Caribbeans to Black Europeans, Canadians, and everywhere across the world, the black man is responding to the call. So following its success, Ghana introduced the Beyond the Return initiative, which offers opportunities for black people worldwide to invest, live, and contribute to the country's development. From citizenship to land ownership and business incentives, Ghana is making it easier for our brothers and sisters to come back. So, you may be asking yourself, why should I go back to Africa? There is nothing left for me there. I don't speak their language, I don't have any family there, nor do I even eat their food. Everything is just foreign to me. Why should you return? Let's talk about it. Let me start with the cultural connection. So I want you to imagine walking down the streets and hearing your ancestors' language spoken around you. Imagine having an African name, one that carries meaning and history. Imagine celebrating festivals that your forefathers once celebrated. Here, you are not a minority. You are home and you are part of us. When it comes to economics, oh my God, Africa's economy is growing rapidly and opportunities are endless. Whether you're an entrepreneur, an artist, or a professional, Africa is the land of opportunities. There's something I also want to talk about, and that's property, real estate. Real estate is so different. I won't go so deep, but trust me, next time I come, I'm going to go so deep. But real estate is so different in Africa. Many of you are in the US, in Canada, in Europe, suffering to pay mortgages. You've been paying mortgage all your life. That's not life. When you come to Africa and you buy, for example, if you buy land today in Africa and they give you a land title, you've bought it and that's it. There's no need for you to pay for the rest of your life. You pay once and that's it. Land is cheap. Life is cheap in Africa. If you build a house or if you buy a finished house in Africa, there's nothing like pay until you die. You pay when you're buying and that's it. Your kids will inherit and your kids' kids will also inherit that house. Let me talk about the quality of life. Many of you have grown up on junk and canned food. So why not come home to real organic food straight from the garden to the kitchen? It doesn't hurt to try. Just a few hours of your life on a plane may lead you to the motherland. I know you invest so much money to go to different countries just to see how it looks. Why not invest some money just to come and see? You may not stay, okay, you may come and you may not like it, but at least give it a try. Just come home, see where your ancestors come from. Come find your roots and you won't regret. So how do you move to Africa? So you may be asking yourself, how do I move to Africa and where do I start from? No worries, it is so simple and my next video will answer that for you. This is your time. Africa is calling. Ghana is ready to welcome you home. Come reconnect with your roots, reclaim your heritage and be part of the new future. The doors of return are still open, so please walk through them. Thank you. Have a
All right, and one more thing I want to show, and then I'm gonna have my final comments as well. This is Zimbabwe.
Good view of number one.
Ooh.
Because from one, we are like on the shoulder, we cannot see much.
Okay.
But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have the best view of that number one.
Okay.
And number 8 is the beginning of our main falls.
Okay.
This man called David Livingstone. He was so lucky that he was the first white man to be shown the falls.
Oh.
He was so lucky. They brought him to see the falls, 2 boys by the name of Sus and Shuma, and he decided to call them Victoria Falls after Queen Victoria.
Okay.
And then the boys told him, this is Mosi Oyatunya. It means smoke that thunders.
Oh. And Victoria Falls. And it's stuck.
And up to now, it's...
I must say that I had no idea about the beauty of Zimbabwe. I'm telling you guys, the falls are so beautiful, it takes your breath away. I have been all over the world and I have not seen waterfalls this beautiful. I have not, just pure beauty. I've never seen greens. I don't want to be dramatic, but the greens, the camera doesn't do it any justice. These beautiful green colors that are purely produced from all this, water flying up from the falls, making it a rainforest. Those green colors were just absolutely intoxicating. When I tell you I did not know Zimbabwe was so beautiful, I had absolutely no idea. Why don't they show this side of Africa or this side of Zimbabwe on the television? Why? It's gorgeous, it's ridiculously safe, and it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area of the world. It was so relaxing to just walk around the falls and to just look at them. We came at an amazing time. We got here at 10 a.m. so the falls were visible, where sometimes there's so much movement that you can't see them. But walking around the rainforest in general was just absolutely gorgeous. It's funny because as we're walking, we're in Zimbabwe, but looking at the falls, that is Zambia. So it's so cool to see Zambia, which I will be there next week. But this side of the falls is Zimbabwe, the other side is Zambia.
All right, fam. So that is your inheritance. This is what the Bible describes as the promised land. And as I prove in my book, the promised land is sub-Saharan Africa, right? All the way from the Niger River, all the way to the Nile River in East Africa, inclusive of South Africa. Jerusalem is in Ethiopia. For those who don't know, you want to see the proof for it? Buy my book. Understand that they don't want you there. Look how beautiful it is. Look at the lush vegetation. Look at the animals. Look at the water that is flowing out. All as the Bible describes of the promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey. They don't want you there. They don't want you there. And yes, Jerusalem is in Ethiopia. I prove it. I prove it. I prove it. And this is the problem when you look at other locations like South Africa, you look at the Congo. If you notice, it's always what they believe. It's always speculation. They never tie it to what the scripture says Jerusalem is. They never tie it to the history and the culture and the traditions of the Israelites and what the Israelites have done and what the Israelites have left behind. Understand also that King Solomon had a kingdom that was a magnificent kingdom. You're not going to get that in the Middle East. There's no history or relics in South Africa that shows this big, huge, beautiful, magnificent Israelite kingdom. There's no history and traditions and artifacts in the Congo that shows this big history. Yes, you might find some writings which some people call Hebrew or ancient Hebrew in the Congo caves. That's not evidence. All that tells you is that that was a Afro-Asiatic language. Hebrew is also derived from Canaanite language, which is an Afro-Asiatic language. And this is why I have said, and I repeat again, that I have done the research. I have looked at the evidence, both biblically, historically, archaeologically, right? And what the Bible says this should happen. And look, it matches up, right? Lalibela matches up with the Temple Mount. Axum lines up with being Jerusalem, that whole area, even inclusive of Yeha. I don't believe Yeha is Jerusalem. I believe it's probably a suburb of Jerusalem, or you could call it an outward land of Jerusalem, because I believe Jerusalem was big. But understand that the evidence has to bring you to wherever you go and where you land. You have to build your case. I took the time and built my case. I took the time and did the research. I took the time and looked at the scriptures. I took the time to ask the right questions. One of the questions being, if Absalom died in a forest with his hair tied into an oak tree, how is the Middle East the land? Come on now, I don't have to prove nothing else after that, right? But I guarantee you, you're going to always get these colonized mind Christians and these colonized minds Israelites, right, who have done zero research, or the research that they have done is biased for some reason that they know themselves. Just as we see Trump doing his thing, right? Trump taking away your rights. Trump taking away social services. Trump taking away the educational system. Trump taking away this. Trump taking away that. And you think you're going to survive here. Trump taking away DEI. Not only in the federal government, but threatening private institutions. If you hire DEI people, you might go to jail. But you think you're going to stay here. While at the same time that all of these events are happening, that's going to what? Force you to reconsider yourself being a resident of this place. Africa is welcoming you home. Coincidence? The AU is meeting this week and going to discuss reparations. What's inclusive of reparations? How we get our people back. Is that coincidence? No, Yacoba making it up. Yacoba lying. Yacoba telling half-truths. Well, you decide for yourself. Oh, it's the gathering and it's not the exodus. Okay, you decide for yourself. You call it what you want. I'll call it tomato. You call it tomato. Understand, you've never seen a systematic defeat or breaking down of my position. All you hear is ad hominem attacks. All you ever hear is gaslight. But yet everything I've been teaching since before 2019 is coming to pass. But they don't want to say that. They want to take your Cobra stuff out of context, right? Oh, your Cobra prophesied this and it didn't happen. Oh, this, that, and the other. Cutting out stuff, right? Where I gave a caveat, right? They cut it out so you can believe the lie, right? And that is the time we're in. This is the time we're in where it is full of deception. This is the time of deception. I don't care if the deception coming from the Gentiles, which it is. I don't care if the deception coming from Israelites, which it is. There's a whole bunch of deception coming from Israelites. Know that there's only a remnant that's going to be saved. The Bible says there's a surviving remnant. I want to be part of the remnant. I want to see what the Most High has for us. I want to make it back to the promised land while the Gentiles are waiting for the rapture. See, that's their deliverance. They're going to be caught up in the sky and disappear. That's their deliverance. Why? Because they got everything else. They had the land, they had the good life, they had the money, they had the slaves, right? They had everything. So now all they got to do is avoid the pain and they're going to be raptured out. But that's not going to happen. The next event, in my opinion, I got to say that, not that they're going to, adhere to my caveats, because what they do, they clip, snip, and misrepresent my statements. But note that what's coming is the second Exodus, or our fleeing, however you into the wilderness, the woman in Revelation 12. That's my opinion. Can y'all repeat after me? That is Jacob's opinion, y'all. It's not thus says the Lord. It's not thus says Yahuwah. It is Jacob's opinion. And my opinion is based upon the things that I see. My opinion is based upon the fact that, guess what? You have a shortage of eggs. Eggs is costing you $10 to $20 a quart, somewhere around there, or 16, right? Depending upon where you're at. You got a shortage of meats and foods and veggies. Why? Because you didn't got rid of the immigrants who picked a lot of stuff and did a lot of things. You got the housing prices collapsing. Why? Because ain't nobody have jobs, right? Why? Because the federal government, which is the largest employer of the nation, has laid off over 200 and something thousand people and more. But you think all things remain the same and it's going to stay cool and you're going to always have food on the table. You're going to always have a constant electricity coming in, while at the same time, this nation is threatening Canada, who says, oh, yeah, if you're going to invade us, if you're going to take our land, or you're going to put sanctions on us, or you're going to put tariffs on us, what we're going to do is we're going to shut off your electricity, New York. We're going to turn off your electricity, East Coast. But all things remain the same. Y'all ain't got a problem with that because y'all don't see it. Everybody, I realize, not going to see it. And everybody don't want to see it because some people are like Cypher in the Matrix. They love the Matrix. Give me my glasses back, hack me back into the Matrix so I can eat my steak, so I can live in my nice house, so I can, guess what? Drive my nice car. But guess what? How you going to drive your car? You ain't going to have no gas. Because as we put sanctions on those nations, they're going to put sanctions on us. You could drive your car, but it's going to be $100 a gallon. You could eat that steak. It's going to be $200 a steak. You can live in that house. It's going to be 2,000 square feet worth $1 million, just like in California. But ain't nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, nothing to be concerned about, because you're Cobras fear-mongering. Do you not see, as I mentioned before, that they're coming for you? Is it not obvious? Because the whole issue is DEI. Even though white women benefited more from DEI, they think it's you folks. They think it's the black folks. Why do you think they're shutting down the educational system? Why do you think they're trying to get rid of the FDIC protections? Why do you think they're shutting down consumer protection? Why do you think they're shutting down anything that the lower level people, the ones who are last, survive off of? Do you not know that most black folks, most African Americans, aka descendants of slaves, aka Israelites, are on some kind of government program? Do you not know that most black folks, aka Israelites, aka descendants of slaves, cannot survive without Section 8, cannot survive without SNAP benefits? Do you not know that most of our people can't survive without government help? But you say all things remain the same. You think everything gonna be good. So as Trump continues to take away these benefits, it ain't really benefits. We all put our money into it, called taxes. But as they take all of that away from you and you don't have access to it, what you gonna do? That's my question, fam. What you gonna do? What's your plan? See, I told y'all my plan is to get out. I am planning my way out. I'm not telling you to do jack. I don't do that. I am not the Most High. I'm just a teacher of the word. I say, here's what I see. This is what I think happening. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. But guess what? I'm magnanimous enough to say, here's what I am doing. I'm at least making plans. I'm not stupid, mind you. I'm at least making plans that if something goes wrong, I have a way out. The Bible says that we're going to leave weeping. Do you believe the Bible? I'm convinced, and I've said it before, that most of our people don't believe the scriptures. I'm convinced of that. But I guarantee you, this is just my opinion, by June or July, definitely going into the fall, you're going to probably know somebody or a group of families that don't have any money coming in because they don't have a job. Since Elon Musk has taken all of these dollars out of the social programs and all of the contractors who got government contracts, right, which supports most of the people in this nation, as these things dwindle, most of the people you know are going to be unemployed. And guess what's going to come? Universal basic income. Remember, Elon Musk told you that, right? Oh, well, you're going to have the high level of universal basic income. Y'all remember that, right? That's what he said. But you know, universal basic income ain't nothing but welfare. And what happens when you're on welfare? Well, you know, in order to get this welfare, you cannot have a husband in the home. You know, in order to get this welfare, you got to eat a cookie. You know, in order to get this welfare, you got to eat a lollipop. Y'all know it's coming. Don't get it twisted. The system is already being put in place, which is why they have developers and network guys that Elon Musk brought in, because they're putting in a new system. They're putting in a new AI controlled social credit tracking systems. You know, no more disbursements unless you align with the matrix. No more welfare, no more retirement benefits, nothing, Social Security, forget it, because you're going to have to pass the algorithm test, which is called social credit. Modeled after what they're doing in Shanghai, China. Is it a dire situation? Yes. But now you can see why I believe there's not much left other than us leaving. Whether you call that the Exodus or the wilderness experience, or, you know, you call it the gathering. Make sure you are on tune with the Most High. Look, here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you this and I'm out. Don't let anybody tell you anything. Don't let nobody tell you when to leave. Don't let nobody tell you when to stay. Don't let nobody tell you, how to protect your family or prepare for your family. Seek the Most High in any and everything you do. Period, with a T. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to nobody else. Seek the Most High in telling you what you should do, because he might tell you something different than your neighbor. He might tell you to do something different than that other Israelite, because them other Israelites might be waiting for something else. Them other Israelites might not be lining up with the Most High. Those other Israelites might be following Mormonism. Those other Israelites might think they Native American Indians. Don't expect him to tell you to do the same thing that these other Israelites do. And don't let nobody convince you to leave until the Most High tell you to leave. You know why? Because you're going to know when to leave. I keep telling y'all that. I'm not telling you do nothing. People always ask me, well, Yacob, I ain't got no money. I don't have this. You going to know when to leave when it's time. And I guarantee you, when it's time, you're not going to be saying I ain't got no money. When you find out it's time, you ain't going to say I don't have enough to leave or to catch a flight or to catch a plane. You're going to be like, I'm out. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because you're going to be leaving weeping. That's what Jeremiah 50 says. You're going to be leaving crying. Why are you going to be leaving crying, Yacoba? Because you ain't going to have no food. You ain't going to have no water. And people going to be breaking in your house, stealing your goods. That's why. That's what the Bible teach. I'm not making up anything. If you believe the scriptures, go read it for yourself. People act like what I'm reading, I don't understand, right? They got to interpret it for me. No, the Bible says I got to flee. The Bible says I got to flee from the plagues that's coming on Babylon. I'm seeing the plagues. People want to try to reinterpret stuff for me. No, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I'm an independent thinker. I don't follow the crowd. Y'all know that by now. And I think most of the people that follow this channel don't follow the crowd. I think most of the people that follow this channel are independent thinkers. Oh, yes. The ones who follow this ministry are the ones who are intellectuals. The ones who follow this ministry are the ones who are led by the Holy Spirit. The ones who follow this ministry, you can't pull the wool over their eyes because they say, thus says Yahuwah. You're not going to get them with the gaslighting and the sleight of hand and the fake this and the fake that and the misinterpretation of this and the misinterpretation of that. We're Native American Indians, we're Mexicans. No, you're not going to get the people who follow this ministry like that. Why? Because they're independent thinkers. They study for themselves. You know why a lot of these people still follow Teo Ministries? Because they went back and they validated everything we taught. They say, well, yeah, that looked like what it said to me. And some people say, well, no, Yacob, I disagree with you. But, hey, that's cool. But for the most part, they're at least going back and doing the research, where the other ones are nothing but lemmings following everybody off the cliff. This is for the thinking people. This is for the spiritually aware people. This is for the ones whose hearts is to serve Yahuwah. This is for the ones who love their people. Oh yeah. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all. Look, I love y'all. I'm telling you, I love the people on this channel. The people on this channel, y'all hearts are so big. Y'all are very giving and supportive of our people. Y'all could support this ministry a little more, but I ain't angry. The ones who support us are meant to support us. I'm cool with that. Y'all can support Brother Karras and QTUA and Covenant Awakening, but the ones who meant to support y'all meant to support. But understand this, we not mad because the Most High is making a way for all of us to get out of here. And there are things that we can't talk about right now that has a very positive aspect to it. A very positive aspect to it. And that's all we can say. But understand, everything we do, we thinking about the family. We thinking about the Most High and his will and supporting our people. Why? Because we got to get back to the point where I recognize you as my brother. I recognize you as my sister. If you hurt me, you're hurt. If someone hurt you, I feel your pain. This is where we supposed to be. Ubuntu. I am because we are. Some people say I am because you are. This is where we got to return to because, like I said, we are broken people. Oh, yes. The more I've learned about Israel, there's nothing special about us. Other than that, the Most High chose us for himself. When I saw what Israel did in the Old Testament and what I see Israel doing today, I'm like, okay, Most High, I see. There's nothing special about us. It's all you. That's why the Most High says, not for your sake, but for my holy name's sake, that I'm going to restore you. I'm going to bring you back to the land. I'm going to give you a new heart. I'm going to make you kings and priests for my sake. Because our people stiff-necked. Well, fam, that's all I got. Love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. You can support this ministry by becoming a Patreon member. You can also support it by giving Cash App, $TOTW 7101. You can also go to tailministries.com and go to the donations tab, and there's other options. And you can also help a brother out by going over there to Amazon and giving me some positive reviews. Because these little jokers, these little urban apologists, they got it out for the brother, you know, trying to bring my ratings down. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not crying over it. Don't get it twisted. But y'all can help a brother out by doing that. So, fam, love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending.